Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my video. And today I'll be reviewing the X-Racer X1, and now this is a brand new micro brush quad from FPV model. We take it out of the little case here. You can see we got another little case inside, something that I think is definitely a really good asset of this thing. You know, you can just slip this in your pocket, maybe if you have big pockets to take it. Mine is your transmitter, so if we unzip that, you get a look inside. This canopy, I'm not sure if this is included, if you get two colors or not, but I know I requested the yellow version when this was sent in, so thank you for that. I'm just not sure if you buy it, it comes with two canopies. But in the middle, we have the main quad strapped under. But first, let's take a look at everything else in here. Just to be sure, get everything out. But yeah, pretty nice little case to keep everything nice and contained and well protected. So here we've just got some spare screws and little bobbins to hold the canopy on. In here we've got four spare propellers, probably really hard to see, but there's four little micro four-bladed propellers in there. Not sure what this is at all. Maybe, I don't know if you want to put your number on it. Got a couple little X-Racer X1 stickers, you know, if you wanted to label your number in a race or something. Here we've got a little micro USB charger with the X-Racer logo on it. Looks like it outputs 500 milliamps. Let's take a look at these. You actually do get two batteries with this, so if we open these up, you get two batteries, which is awesome, especially at this price point. And if we take a closer look at them, they are sort of the stick style battery, once again with the connector ending on it with the X-Racer sticker, and it looks like they are 250 milliamp hour. It's claiming 1S 3.8 volts. 60C, and if you notice it says up there high volt HV 4.35 volts. I'm not sure if that's the batteries themselves that they're claiming. I'm not sure, you know, this stock charger, if it'll charge it up or you have to use a specific charger, but I actually don't have a hobby grade charger that accepts high volt voltages, and I don't recommend charging it up to that anyways, so I actually hope that this stops the charge at 4.2 volts, which is normal. But, you know, hopefully this will be a pretty good fit for this, and it's really nice that it comes with two batteries there, so it should get you some decent flight times and keep you up in the air. So let's take a look at the quad. So here we have it. Looks really sleek in the all black or silver configuration, and right away, before we do anything and take it apart, let's get a weight on it. And there we go, let's weigh it, and it comes out to 27.96 grams. If we add one of these batteries, it comes out to 34.64 grams, and one of the batteries by itself weighs 6.7 grams. So it is heavier than most Tiny Whoop setups. They come in about 20 grams, but I'm pretty sure one of the factors is most of those use 6mm motors, but this actually uses 7x16mm motors, so they're wider, so they produce more power, and these are the 14,000 kV versions here. And now this quad does come as a bind and fly, which is the version I got, but they also do offer a DIY kit, so all the parts, and they do offer everything as spare parts, so if you break something, there's plenty of parts to fix it up. But let's just take the canopy off. You just undo those two little things, and then it's kind of around the battery cable in the back. And there we have it. So right away, I definitely don't like the way the camera is held in. It's just sort of on this camera VTX combo, which is this special board that they made to fit in here with the linear antenna coming out the back. Really nice low profile lightweight antenna. I'm glad they went with that. However, this just kind of fits up here. It doesn't really snap in, and then the canopy just kind of goes over it, which, I mean, I guess it's okay keeping it nice and lightweight, but that might, you know, shake around or hit loose in a crash. I mean, it's under there, so it's gonna be more protected than that, but it's definitely not the best option, I think. So the motors, they are all plug and play. You can see they do run down to little micro connectors, so building this, if you do get the kit version, or swapping a motor if you burn one out or it just wears from use, it would be very easy for that. Underneath is also the special board they designed. You can't really see it. There's a USB coming out the back. I'm not exactly sure it's an F3 or an F1, but in something like this, it doesn't really matter. You're not really going to get much better flight performance depending on what what firmware and, you know, what loop times are running. So even if it is an F1, it shouldn't be too bad, but I'm pretty sure it's an F3. And the battery just slots underneath here, and that's actually a very nice fit. very tight fit, so it won't come out in a crash, hopefully. And we do have a little bit of room around the propellers, so the ducts hopefully won't hit in a crash. So I'm really excited to test this guy out with the 7mm motors. Hopefully it should be pretty decent. Let's see, we got any LEDs? Nope, just some on the boards under there. And this is FreeSky. I'm not sure if they offer other brands, but it does have a FreeSky receiver built into it underneath there. You can just bind it up to your Tyrannus or your QX7 or any other FreeSky compatible radio. Looks like the frame is actually maybe a little bit slanted or off center, but you can kind of bend that around. That's one thing I don't like about these really light plastic frames, but pretty much all the Tiny Whoop frames are just exactly like this, and there's no issues with that. So hopefully that won't be a problem on this one. So let me get some batteries charged up and fly it around, and then I'll come back and I'll do a line of sight flight in my room here, and then we'll fly around FPV, and I'll finish up telling you what I think about it. Alright, so let's take this little X1 for a spin here. I already got the radio turned on, so let's just plug in the battery. Make sure the battery's centered there. Let it sit on a flat surface. Looks like we're good to go. So I'll be starting off. This is actually in self-level mode here. So while we have a full battery, this is charged to 4.2 volts. For normal voltage, let's do a full throttle punch here. There we go. So not bad. Not the greatest, but definitely not bad and pretty respectable, I'd say, there for a Tiny Whoop sized quad like this. It's got the 7mm motors. Okay, just flying around in self-level mode. Let's do a funnel here. You see, it's got pretty decent power. I'm about 80% throttle to hold that through. And you will notice probably that I'm flying without the canopy on to save that extra 1.5 grams. Keep it real nice low profile. So now I'm actually do some flips here. Oops. I just put in new rates to get it to flip faster, so I don't really know. Wow, that is a lot quicker than I thought it was going to flip. But it definitely can flip, obviously. It's running beta flight on there. I just bumped the rates up a lot so it would do them quick enough that it wasn't losing so much air height there. Yeah, definitely can do them. Once again, struggling a little bit since it is a little bit of a heavier quad. Okay. Now I'm flying an acro here, just doing some smooth turns. So that's the self-level. I find I like to fly these little quads indoors with less power in self-level mode more, because I have to have a higher rate to flip. But yeah, this flies around pretty nice. Definitely seems a little bit louder than some other quads that I've had similar to this, but it's got some decent power to it. Let me see there. Oops, took a fall. Let's see how it came out. Let's see if everything's good. Oop. I find that sometimes it'll take a long time before you can rebind after a tumble.
20 seconds.
It's still not letting me rearm, and the battery might be kind of toast though. It's pretty warm, almost at the very end of the flight there. It might have gone into the LVC shut off. But let's just try and finish it out here. Had a little radio disconnect there, interestingly enough. But yeah, the battery's pretty much toast at this point. Probably why it wasn't letting me rearm. But I'll just go until it drops so you can see that. And that's full power. The battery's giving up. It's limiting the current so it doesn't full throttle. So it doesn't pull under the 3 volts. Full throttle. And yeah, that's about it. So that's just what happens there. It basically just shuts itself off at about 3 volts, so it once it's done and recovers, the voltage comes up to about 3.2, 3.3. So So that's definitely good. You won't completely kill your batteries. And just unplug it there. So that was the quick little line of sight indoors flight. So now let's do some FPV indoors and then we'll finish up. Alright, so here we are for some indoor FPV with the X1 here. So right off the bat you can see the camera actually is performing very well in the indoor lit environment. And if you notice all these white flashes on the DVR, I'm not sure why mine picked those up. It usually doesn't, but I wasn't seeing those in the goggles, so don't worry about those quick white flashes. But you can see there is a little bit of noise in the video if you look on the edges, but there's definitely nothing really to be worried about. Just cruising around here, getting a feel for it. It definitely is more of a fast cruiser, I'd say. Kind of like a heavier freestyle quad would let you get more smooth, fast footage. But you can see in that very dark room there, the camera didn't really adjust, but then again, there was kind of no light at all. So, you know, what can you expect? Let's go upstairs and test the range of the video a little bit more, as well as the camera in a very bright room coming up here. I have left all these studio lights on here. Once again, great video, no problems with the range of the control. Obviously it's running FreeSky with the internal receiver on the Tyrannus, and no problems with the video strength. Just changing flight modes there, because I tried to do a roll there, but that didn't work out too well. Let's just do some orbits. Kind of a yaw spin. But yeah, it's just flying really nice and fast and smooth. Once again, like I said, it's kind of like a heavier acro quad. It's not as responsive, but it does allow for sort of faster in general, not faster top speed, but easier to go faster and smooth video, smooth flying. That little hit there, the prop guard worked well. Just doing some orbits around myself real close here. Then we can finish up and land on the cat. So once again, the batteries that it comes with are 1S 250 milliamp hours, and they're rated high volt, 4.35 volts. However, you know, charging to high volt, your batteries are not going to last long at all, especially in a battery this small of size. But luckily, this charger does stop them at 4.2 volts, so that's good. So unless you intentionally put them to a high volt charge, they will not, which is, I think that's very good. And I've been getting about a 35-minute charge time off of this charger, which makes sense with the 500 milliamp hour output. And I've been getting about 2.5 to 3 minutes of flight time on here. Depending on how you fly, obviously you'll get a little more, a little less. I took the canopy off because, as you'll see here, it actually weighs a decent amount by itself. It weighs 1.2 grams there, and that's not a lot. It's only 1.2 grams, but on a quad, you know, something this small, that definitely does start to come into play. And for the camera, I couldn't get the canopy to fit on. Like, the stack was too tall and it really pulled, and then the camera, it pulled to a high angle. That's the wrong way. The camera, when it was on, it pulled up to like a 30-degree angle, which is really too much, I think, for an indoor quad like this. So I basically just used a little bit of hot glue, and I glued in about, I don't know, 10-degree angle there, and that seemed to work really well. As for the camera itself, there wasn't too much noise in it. Definitely, there was some that I did notice at times. However, it was definitely flyable. On something like this, it doesn't matter. I felt like the combination of field of view to fisheye effect was a good combo. It wasn't super wide angle, but it definitely didn't. It definitely had enough to fly around with without getting super weird when you're pitching forward with everything looking closer or farther away than it actually is. And for the video strength, you know, it was pretty decent. It wasn't as good as some, like say on this Warlark that I had, but this, I did have the antenna sticking straight up on this one, whereas this, it's kind of streamlined real low. And for a linear antenna, that's not the greatest, but it did work plenty fine. And the camera performed very well in light handling. Video transmitter, once again, is 25 milliwatts, and it is 40 channels. You can change the band and the channels with this button. You know, the simple short press and long press for that, but I just left it stock. For the receiver, in the internal FreeSky receiver, it was a little weird. You do have to select PPM. It does not run S-Bus, which I'm not sure if the internal receiver they used in the board is made that way or that's just how they wired it, but I did notice you can feel a little bit of the lag since a PPM is slower protocol, but it wasn't that huge of a deal after you got a little more used to it. And it does come pre-flash with Betaflight 3.1.5 and its own settings and tune. It has a different PID tune already installed. I changed a couple things. I lowered the min throttle just a little bit and just, you know, set up the switches and stuff with ARM and, you know, angles, horizon, and acro mode, but pretty much I just left it stock and it flew around real well. It has the 7mm motors, which, once again, let me weigh this here. It does make it a little bit of a heavier, beefier quad. However, it does give it more power. So it's just, it doesn't have quite as much punch, but it has more meat throughout the mid-band, I'd say. So if we weigh that, that's 26.9 grams, so almost 27. I believe some people I've seen online get 25 grams, and you know, that extra 2 gram definitely does make a difference. And this Warlark is 27.8, but it is a much larger design with the larger prop, so it's going to be generating more thrust. Yeah, but overall, I definitely do like this quad. The more I flew it around, the more I got used to it in FPV. I actually realized that it has quite a decent amount of power compared to some of my other quads, and that's probably due to the 7mm motors. It just really kicks around nice. And it's also great that they sell replacement parts. Every single part you can get from FPV model. So if you break something, you need spares, they have it, because they also carry the kit version, which is a little bit cheaper if you build it yourself. Basically just plugging the motors in, screwing stuff down, and then a couple wires you need to solder for the camera. And as for the props, let me show you this. I did try, because I've seen this before, people take the stock props, which are quad blades, right here, and they cut them down to a 2-blade, which is what I did. I just used cutters and trimmed down 2 blades, so it was still balanced enough. It's such a tiny, lightweight blade, it doesn't matter. I found pretty much the exact same power, the exact same flight time. The only difference I noticed was noise. It's a little bit lower pitched, but these had a little bit better control, I'd say. But really, I don't think it's worth your time at all. Just leave the prop stock. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and I'll leave a link down below as well. FPV Model did release a binding tutorial for this. It's basically, I believe, there's 2 buttons labeled bind, and I had trouble with it at first. And that was mainly because I was trying to connect it with S-Bus in the configurator, not PPM. That's why I wasn't getting anything showing up. But I think it's maybe this button up here. But I'll leave a link to FPV Model's tutorial. It's very simple and pretty detailed if you're having trouble with that. As well as a link down below to the product itself, which is, I believe, about $70, which is not that bad of a price. Really, you just need your own radio. Everything else is included. And this really small travel case is really nice and protective, so you can carry that in your pocket. You do have to carry around your bulky radio then, so it's not like a true, you know, really small minimalistic way to go, but it definitely is a nice improvement. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. There will be a link down to my Patreon if you wish to help support the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.